Stranger than fanfiction. Stranger than fanfiction. Strange than fanfiction. Strange than fiction. Strange than fan than fiction. Strange than fan than fiction than world domination. Oh, wait, you weren't supposed to hear that. Here's an episode, not for kids. Forget what you heard. Enjoy. I mean, especially when they see us, they see how we react to learning new stuff about other places.
Let's nuke it.
Yeah,
you know, let's fucking poke and prod.
Why would they want to interfere? Because they know, I think, that if we did find out they existed, that we would not react in a mature way. They're probably, hopefully, waiting for humanity to advance to a point where we can find out that there is other life, more intelligent, more advanced life, and react in a way that is like, oh, this is a good thing. You know, but right now, I suspect that our reaction would be common enemy. They're a threat. We need to destroy them, and we would advance our weaponry. We would advance our defenses.
That's how it always starts.
Yeah.
Hey there, strangers. Welcome back to another episode of Stranger Than Fan Fiction, where we celebrate the fans and the fiction by reading fiction from, you guessed it, the fans.
The fans.
Guys, I hate Reese. I'm Wes. No, that's not my thing. I have a joke.
Right,
I'm leaving the podcast. I am starting my own brand of cosmetics. They're going to be Mad Max post-apocalyptic themed, and they're going to be called Apocalypse. I'm Wes.
Nice.
I
am Peggy the Peg-Leg Pirate's Pet Parrot Petty Reese.
You'd be like Dan.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another P name. I should maybe Peter.
Peter's good.
Parrot.
Parrot. I love that name.
Peter.
I have a good frame name. Parrot.
Yeah. Anyway,
Parrot.
the joke. It's just a bunch of P alliteration.
Yeah,
I can't wait to buy that.
Well,
Well, I'm going to follow Wes's lead because I love him very much and start my own company as well of little pieces of underwear, just pieces, that turn your farts into music. I guess. CEO, Hunter.
Nice.
Which pieces?
The one on the fart box.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, so just like a little
patch.
tiny
Yeah, it's
patch.
like a bit. You just like so you take your underwear off.
Do you
and
still have to wear underwear?
You do. It's magnetic, so one has to be on the inside, one has to be on the outside.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
that's some impressive tech.
It is. It is. I got a grant.
You lean over and you're like,
military R&D.
hello.
Excuse me, guys.
It's
me.
Has your R&D department found any adverse effects of attaching magnets to your butt?
Yes, there have been probably like a 30% increase in hemorrhoids for people. But a lot of the people with hemorrhoids have said 90% of the people who have gotten hemorrhoids, so 30% of our testing
said
group,
that they love them.
say that the music actually makes it worth it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to try it.
Yeah,
Apparently, you
And-
become pretty anal.
you do.
Nice. Well, because of all of that, I've just now decided to leave.
And what are you gonna do?
I have no
Well,
idea
you know,
why.
I thought about creating a bug impersonation noise company called Cicadence. Taha.
Okay.
That's pretty topical for now.
Yeah.
And why is it topical for now?
There are lots of bugs outside.
There's a lot of
are.
bugs.
There are lots
Yeah,
of bugs.
so
Because
if-
I also like to mimic bugs.
yeah, give us your best bug impression. Oh, Reese, do a ladybug.
I fly in your lasagna and you eat me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. One more. Okay.
Okay.
Do a stink bug. Do a stink bug.
I fly in your lasagna and I taste like shit.
Oh, it's just like a stink bug.
Just like I remember it when I ate lasagna.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
Okay, what do you got?
What do you got?
praying mantis?
I crawl in your lasagna and bite your lip.
Oh! Dang! Reese, you're so good at that.
Thank you.
Nice.
I am an
If
impressionist.
you're listening, Reese just bowed, and it was the most awkward bow I've ever seen.
There's a microphone in front of me. A
Yeah,
ladybug. There is a story behind that. A ladybug did actually fly in my lasagna when I lived in
Wow,
my
I
log
picked
cabin.
the perfect bug then.
Yeah, I have a history with ladybugs. Our house was infested.
Is it a sexual history?
Yeah, I have a history with ladybugs. I'd rather not talk about it.
All right.
Nice.
Well, everybody, listen. This is a sensitive issue. We'll get into this in
You
an
know
off
what?
the
Cut.
page.
Let's just start from the top again.
I'm just not in the mood.
You had to bring up the goddamn ladybugs, Wes.
Reese, do you have a scented candle ode of ladybugs?
I know exactly what that smell is.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you have a candle of it?
No, I would
You
fucking.
sure?
I would be so miserable. The smell of ladybug pee, the smell of that defense mechanism. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had smelled the ladybug pee?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
It's like really bitter. That's what they taste
That's
like.
not pee.
They taste like that when they fly in your
Ooh.
lasagna
Oh my
and you
God.
eat them.
I know that I've heard this story like 3 or 4 times, but I still gag every time you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you trying to listen to ladybug sounds?
No, I'm trying to listen to the French word for ladybug.
Oh.
Because now you said
Ladybug.
the ode de something. No, it's not ladybug. It is Cuccinelle. That's
So wait,
that's cool.
Is Chanel?
Yeah, it's
Just
Coco.
French for lady?
It's Coco Chanel.
Oh shit. She's just one giant lady.
So
Is Coco
Chanel is
Chanel
just-
Coco Chanel is actually just one person who is comprised of
of
a
many
billion
ladybugs.
She's just a million ladybugs in a trench coat. We know your fucking.
We know your secret,
Chanel.
Coco.
So please, like, comment, and
Who
subscribe.
actually-
And
Who
that
is
no
Coco?
one has to know
is
except for
Coco
everybody
Chanel?
who listens to this. A fashion designer.
Or
Yes, French fashion designer.
French
French
fashion.
fashion?
She's a French
designer.
fashion designer too. So saying her name in French, her name is damn near just Ladybug. Wow.
We
Wow.
just discovered the biggest secret.
Speaking of
Even bigger than
conspiracies,
aliens.
What was the topic we were going to bring up?
Oh,
Hunter.
Oh well,
said you had
we've got
something,
we've got a writing prompt.
yeah,
don't
we do have a writing prompt. So we were talking about aliens earlier, and this actually kind of fits in perfectly with our writing prompt for today.
Oh yeah, it does.
For today.
That's
For-
convenient. We
for
ended up
today,
at that
friend.
conversation incidentally,
Uh-huh.
and then yeah, wow.
I know, it's almost like it was planned.
No, dude, it was fate. We can't make any decisions.
So this is coming to us. Oh, by the way, writing prompt. If this is your first time listening, again, why we've made.
Why'd
that
you
joke
start this
million-
episode? Blah, blah, blah.
So our weekly prompt is we scour Reddit for about 30 seconds, look for a writing prompt off of the Reddit writing prompt subreddit, and read it aloud, talk about it, make some stories out of it. It's a lot of fun. Here we go.
And it's gonna happen right now.
Here we go. Drum roll, please.
Reddit writing prompt right now.
Coming at
Here we
ya.
go.
Don't hold your breath.
One more time.
This is coming out to us from Reddit user Colorful Marzipan.
Aw.
Ooh, I like that name.
I love a good marzipan.
Reminds me of Homestar Runner. 'Cause
Marzipan.
Homestar's girlfriend was Marzipan. Marzipan. The prompt says, wanted, male or female roommate to room with 3 others, $190 per month. We are 3 lovely humans currently renting out Acre House just off campus. We're walking distance from college, have Wi-Fi and air conditioning, 4 rooms. Just to clarify, we are definitely human.
So first of all,
That is
I'd like to theorize where could this possibly be? We are getting an apartment
For $190
for $190
a
bucks a month
So
because
that's for 4 rooms. That is, let's see, $760. Is that math
All right.
right?
yeah,
Downtown Newport on Dayton Street.
yeah, yes. Imagine a house. That's the thing is even in that house we were paying more than that.
1,000.
Well, they bumped the rent before we got there
Yeah,
by
It
100.
still would have
So
been
it
more,
was
though,
900. So, but there's reason to believe that maybe like 10
before
years
that.
ago, maybe it was about this much.
So in the early 2000s, a house in Newport on the Levee might cost
Might.
this much.
Now, so I know that we're immediately going to, these people are not human. They're aliens.
Right? Why did you have to clarify otherwise?
Well, I I would like to propose the idea that these are just 3 humans that feel the need to clarify this.
What?
So why are they needing to do that?
They've had bad experiences in the past.
They keep getting alien
Maybe
roommates.
they've been mistaken for aliens.
Okay,
and
why?
Yeah, I actually
Well,
like
they
that.
are looking for that fourth.
I like that flip on its head, that they are human, but for some reason, every time they make an advert,
Mhm.
they keep
Get an
getting
alien.
aliens.
Maybe.
And they don't want an alien roommate. And they're like, listen, maybe if we just really make it clear that we're
Yeah.
humans, because they don't want to come across as bigoted. They don't want to be
No.
like, no aliens need apply.
And they're not saying that.
They're not saying that. That may be what they're thinking, but they're not saying that. So it's clear that they're like, oh, we really want a human roommate, but how do we not appease to aliens? We're so human. We're so
Maybe-
human.
This is less of a request and more of a warning. Maybe these are humans in an alien world. So they're like on Mars.
On Newport on Mars. Yeah.
They're on the Newport. They're in Newport on Mars.
Yeah.
they're in Mars.
And
the
so
Mars
instead of the
Bronx.
Martians, they're like, hey, just so you know, we're humans.
Uh-huh.
We're looking for a roommate,
Uh-huh.
but we're definitely humans.
Dang, if it's $190 a month to live on Mars,
I'm just going
when are we going, guys?
Road trip.
Hey, just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Me
We're gonna
and-
listen to the Mario music, and then you just hit the ramp and like.
Me and
one of the
Musk.
cars.
Me and Elon Musk flying to Mars.
So guess what? We have another AI generated fan fiction.
Oh.
Pew, 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 pew. So this will propel us into one more little avenue of conversation before we move on to the fan fiction for today.
Can't wait.
I wrote, Sven had never had a complete stranger for a roommate. Let alone for. I wrote around. That's incorrect. But at $190 a month, he was willing to put up with just about anything. That was until he met Fleurs Gers and Zax Smith. They were all, and this is them. This is the AI.
Mhm.
They were all former combatants with the insane clown posse. The group lived in a large 2-bedroom apartment in Detroit's Corktown district.
Oh.
Fleurs, a 6'7", 300-pound juggalo with a shaved head, shaved off his famous face paint in solidarity with the ACLU to help put Sven at ease. In May, the Vice office visited the apartment with Smolly and Adrian, known as Ivan the Russian, to find out how the 3 former juggalos were living together as roommates.
I'm willing to accept that any juggalo is in fact an alien. Yeah.
Also, my mind went to gigolo, which is a
very
male
different.
prostitute.
Yeah.
This alien was like, yeah, I'm a gigolo for humans.
No, even better, it's a fan of the band Insane Clown Posse.
Uh-huh.
They drink their what was their drink? Fago?
Yeah, Fago. That was it.
Yeah, Fago, and they paint their faces and they go around and they bully people who bully them.
Uh-huh.
The reverse bullies.
So the last little thing, because I wrote this with the intention of having them be aliens.
Mhm.
My last little, I'm gonna paint you a scene that I had.
Bob Ross style.
We got some happy little clouds up here.
Why is Bob Ross from Texas? Got some happy little-
He's from Florida.
Florida?
Yeah, he's from
Yeah,
Florida.
those
Florida
are the
can be
same
anything.
place.
yeah.
Florida's just
like,
old people Texas.
Now, just look right up there. Ooh, that's nice.
Is he George Bush?
Yes, yes, he is.
George Bush is a good painter too, apparently.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's been painting now.
he's been painting.
So they mention in the advert that they have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So let's say this Sven, our boy Sven, gets a room with Fleurs, Gers, and Zax.
Yeah. Sven's a human, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's maybe
Confirmed.
So we think.
Confirmed human.
And there's one day he's like, "Oh, I gotta get on. Gotta check the book. Gotta check the Facebook.
Gotta check the book.
Gotta check the book." That's what we say.
That's what humans say.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, Gers, what's the Wi-Fi password?" All of a sudden, Gers gets super offended. He's like, why do you need to know the password to the Wi-Fi? And Sven's like, whoa, sorry, I just need to check the book.
I need to check the book.
As they say.
Yeah.
And Skurs is like, obviously, I check the book all the time. It's what we humans do. But no, you can't have the Wi-Fi password. Sven's a little confused, and he's like, okay. Everybody goes to bed tonight. Sven's like, okay, the password must be on the router.
Mm-hmm.
So he sneaks out of his room. He goes down to the basement where they say that the Wi-Fi is. He sees a big mechanized pod with the anagram, the acronym WIFI, and written beside each letter is weaponized infantry for invasion.
We have Wi-Fi.
They had Wi-Fi.
So the advertisement was a code.
Yes.
We're building an army.
To take over Detroit's Corktown.
But Sven was like, oh, cheap rooming. Yeah, I'm just trying to go to Boston College and,
But meanwhile, the aliens are like, all of the world's commerce is centered around Detroit's Corktown. And as long as we can take that, we can hold Yarth in a vice grip and take it and add it to the coalition.
And then Sven saves the day by getting them all addicted to the book.
Yep.
All the aliens are just too busy vague booking. And
one of them joins the University of Phoenix Online.
Yeah.
So
They start saying stuff like, lovely day for an invasion, but you don't want that.
Corktown is apparently it's like the hipster spot of Detroit now.
Like I said, center.
So trendy,
The
youthful
anchor.
area with
the
industrial,
Austin, Texas
chic
of-
bars, intimate live music venues, and
world.
hip breweries.
Do they have knee breweries? What about elbow breweries?
Oh, I get it.
Brewery is a hard word to say very fast.
Brewery.
It sounds
Faster.
funny.
Brewery.
Yeah, it's basically
Brewery.
It's
Everybody at home,
How
try
fast
it
can-
yourself. It's
How fast
fun.
can you say brewery?
Everybody at home, say it with us now.
Brewery. All right. Is it time to go to the fan fiction?
time to go to the bed.
Now
All
it's
time
right,
to go
here
to the
we go.
brewery.
It's time to go to the brewery.
Time to go to brewery. So I chose this fan fiction because I was feeling a bit nostalgic for the era of the Sunday morning
Comics.
newspaper comic.
Sunday sillies.
The Sunday Sillies.
Sunday
Dennis
Scaries.
the Menace. The Boondocks. Marmaduke.
Peanuts.
The classic.
Garfield.
The Peanuts?
Who are the Peanuts?
Isn't that
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown?
Who?
They're the...
So,
Oh, I like legit.
Getting back on topic.
I was like, wait, is that not what they're called?
No, they're the walnuts,
It's the
Hunter.
Mandela!
We could taste your heart.
Mandela, you've done it again. Curse you.
And he's like, I am just collecting my dildos.
My
That's from the prior
Dildos.
episode. If you haven't watched it, you should.
And if you haven't watched it, they're like,
What did you
What
just
the
say?
Talking about the dildos.
the Zilzos. So this is a fan fiction off of one of my favorite Sunday morning cartoons, and I hope yours, Calvin and Hobbes.
Ugh.
Classic story of a little 9-year-old boy and his pet tiger, Hobbes, going on adventures using their imagination. Such adventures as Spaceman Spiff, his space alter ego.
Love a good spiff.
Yeah. And when they go to prehistoric times and meet dinosaurs, so many fun adventures and life lessons by our pal Bill Watterson. Thank you, Bill. So
And his
this
daughter Violet.
so this fan fiction is called "The Lengthy, Dimly Lit Coffee Break of the Psyche." This is by author dotfic. Thank you, dotfic. This was published in 2009, so a while ago, on December 18th. So this is a really cool fan fiction. I won't delve too much into what it's about, but basically it is Calvin in the future. So he's grown up. I imagine he is either in or... No, he's graduated college. I'm imagining he's in his mid to late 20s at this point. He's dating his childhood sweetheart, Susie.
Oh.
Dating his dog. How old is... I mean, so Hobbes must be...
His tiger.
Hobbes must be on the edge of it, on the edge of his.
Gonna let that.
Yeah. Hobbes is a product of Calvin's childhood imagination.
Ah,
So I think Hobbes is as old as Calvin's imagination is.
Now, is this going to be like a TED scenario where he dreamed it up and then he?
Interestingly enough,
Hobbes is
we'll
seen
get
by
into
everyone.
that. There's inklings of what's going on
Okay,
with Hobbes being around or not.
Mm.
So nothing too like dark where it's like
is this going to be sad?
no, it is sad. This is a serious
Not-
serious
yes.
fan fiction. It's not like sad, but
Yeah.
it deals with a very, I think, real emotion that I think a lot of people in our generation kind of deal with.
Horniness.
Yes.
That's the one.
Wanting to F.
I want to F Hobbes.
Yes.
But
No.
I'm not supposed
no.
to. I'm not supposed to F Hobbes.
Let's read the fan fiction.
So, Hunter, you will be narrating this bad boy. Reese, you're going to be Hobbes, the dog.
Yes.
I'm going to be Calvin, and Taha, you will be Susie. I think her last name's Carmichael. I don't know. But without any further ado, Hunter, take her away.
The clock on the wall of the reception area at Zimmerman, and Stanley had barely moved in the past hour. Calvin was sure of it. It was a really nice clock, with Roman numerals and brass hands, which fit with the office's black leather and dark wood furnishings, punctuated by discreet potted plants. Tasteful, well-appointed, as his dad might say, with his appreciation of law firm decor, and brain-crushingly, soul-suckingly boring. Maybe he was trapped in some sort of time vortex, here in the windowless reception area. While he sat manning the phones at the front desk of Zimmerman, and Stanley, 100 years had actually gone by outside. Trees and vines had devoured the tall buildings, while the giant mutant squirrels took over the parks. Maybe they had gnawed through the phone lines, rendering him obsolete. He could dream. He glanced at the LCD screen on the phone. It was 5 minutes since the last time he'd looked at it. No, the clock wasn't broken.
I'm hungry.
Hobbes said, slumped in one of the well-appointed seats. The ginger stripes in his fur stood out more strongly against the black leather. He flipped through a business magazine, the end of his tail draped over his arm.
Do you think there's any tuna in the kitchen?
Probably, but you can't go stealing other people's lunch.
Calvin gripped the edge of the desk and shoved, spinning his chair. He kept that up until he got dizzy. He had to wear a tie and jacket for this gig. It was like when his parents came into town to visit and occasionally insisted they all go out to dinner at some fancy place.
I can't believe I have to wear a tie and a jacket just to answer this stupid phone.
Calvin stopped spinning the chair.
The people on the other end can't see me. What does it matter how I'm dressed?
Presentation is everything.
Hobbes said.
You sound like Susie.
Calvin stared at the phone, willing it to ring. He kept thinking up strange ways to answer it, like,
Association of Evil Genius Headquarters, how may I direct your call?
or,
Alien abduction investigations. Please state the nature of your recent experience.
although, when the phone did ring, he always answered with a dutiful,
Zimmerman, and Stanley, how may I help you?
Susie's kinda smart.
Hobbes said as he turned another glossy page.
Also, have you noticed she's cute? Wow.
She's okay, I guess. She's not as pretty as Christine Caruso.
Christine Caruso treated you like dirt.
Hobbes put down the magazine.
Our relationship was complicated.
Calvin tugged at the tie and scrubbed his fingers through his hair. Another 8 minutes had gone by. His cell vibrated with a short chirp that meant he had a text message. He thumbed the controls to get to the message screen.
Are you at the job?
It was from Susie.
Yes, it sucks.
He texted back.
Jerk.
He replied.
I pulled strings to get you this gig.
Calvin snapped the phone shut. Bup. At around 4 o'clock, he thought he'd fall asleep right at the reception desk if something didn't happen soon. That was when he realized the copy machine was sitting there just a few yards away from him, unused. Just sitting there. For such a posh office, Zimmerman, and Stanley didn't seem to be very busy. Calvin swiveled in his chair.
Hey, Hobbes.
Hobbes yawned and stretched where he'd been napping on the couch, claws extended. When he finished, he turned to see what Calvin was wriggling his eyebrows at him about, and grinned. Another skip. How was he supposed to know the copy machine at Zimmerman, and Stanley kept track of the number of copies it made, and the office manager checked it? Another skip.
You're a cretin!
Susie texted. He thought about not telling her. Frederick Stanley, Esquire, had already been stern enough, with the air of a man who was firing Calvin's ass for his own good as a growth experience. But Susie would find out, and she'd be even more upset if he didn't tell her. Plus, it was true. She had helped him get the temp gig. Calvin sort of wondered why she put up with him.
I know.
Calvin texted back. Another skip. It was early on Saturday morning, and mist rose from the trees.
Sometimes it feels good to stop and look.
Calvin said, his voice sounding too loud. Beyond the park boundaries, the city seemed hushed, slowed down.
Yes, it does.
Susie knelt with her dark hair pulled back into a long ponytail. She watched a line of ducks swim across the pond.
I know what you mean.
Hobbes said. He scented the wind, his tail twitching. Susie finished tightening the laces on her running shoes while a wind creased the water. Calvin held onto it for all of 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, before he took off.
Race you to that tree!
He shouted.
You cheater!
Susie's feet pounded after him along the path. Hobbes caught up with him first, but Calvin had already reached the tree.
Noodlehead! I thought tigers had quick reflexes.
He slapped his palms against the bark, then raised his arms in the air and did a victory lap.
Woo!
Bent over, as she caught her breath, Susie rolled her eyes.
Oh, that's impressive. Next time, try it without a head start.
She smacked Calvin on the arm. Another skip. Somehow, instead of going jogging immediately, they wound up lying side by side on the grass, staring up at the clouds that drifted across the blue sky after the mist burned off and the day grew brighter. Hobbes lay, with his paws curled against his furry stomach. He pointed, a claw extended.
Clipper ship.
Calvin's fingers were almost touching Susie's, both of them stretched out on the ground.
That big one over there kind of looks like Batman.
Nah, more like an eagle.
Susie rolled over on her side, propping herself up on one elbow, and stared at him.
What?
Calvin said.
Nothing.
She flopped back onto her back, dark hair spreading against the grass.
Hey,
she said, and stretched one arm skyward.
That one kind of looks like Hobbes.
Me?
Hobbes's teeth showed in a wide grin.
Hobbes?
Calvin sat up. Susie folded her arms across her chest.
Yeah, I mean, you remember Hobbes, don't you? That stuffed tiger you used to drag around everywhere? You were such a freak.
Oh,
Calvin said, and glanced at Hobbes, who shrugged.
sure. I assume he's in a box in the attic somewhere.
Yeah, Mom gave Mr. Bunn away to the Salvation Army when I was 10.
A crease appeared in Susie's forehead. Then she pushed herself up and jumped to her feet.
Let's go, slacker!
Another skip. Surely Saturday should be the one day out of the week when he didn't have to feel uncomfortable about his lack of steady employment. Sunday too, maybe, except Sunday was usually a family day, if not in person, then phone calls with Mom and Dad, who had the habit of asking incisive questions. What could he expect, being the spawn of a journalist and a lawyer? They'd always seen through him. So, he wanted to facepalm as soon as he brought up the J word himself without any prompting from Susie.
What?
She said as the three of them jogged along the lake, keeping pace with each other.
Nothing.
You said something about your resume.
Susie said, a little breathless from running. He slowed and stopped, then swung his leg up on a park bench, making himself very busy stretching. Hobbes stopped too, standing near him with his head cocked to the side like he really wanted to hear what Calvin might say now, while Susie jogged in a curve to return to the bench.
I said, I'm thinking of sending it out for this one job.
Calvin!
Susie's face lit up. It was embarrassing. She might as well have clapped her hands together with glee.
It's no big deal. Jeez, forget I said anything.
He began to stretch his other leg.
But what's the job?
Graphic design, some advertising company.
Girls dig that art stuff, don't they?
Hobbes looked thoughtfully, stroking a paw along his whiskers.
You don't sound too excited.
Susie frowned.
I might not send it after all.
No way.
Why not?
Hobbes asked.
I might not get it, and
Calvin stopped stretching. His sneakers didn't need tying, but he put one foot on the bench, then the other, retying the laces together.
if I don't, that's like the only thing I'm good at.
That's not a reason not to apply.
Susie almost shouted,
She's right.
said Hobbes.
There will be other jobs if you don't get this one.
Susie always sounded so reasonable when she talked like that.
Oh, what do you know? You've gotten straight A's your whole life.
Because I worked my ass off, Calvin.
And you got into law school and got a job before you even graduated college.
Again, worked for it, jerkface.
You really like to rub it in, don't you, Miss Overachiever?
Susie opened her mouth, then made a small, angry noise in her throat. She turned on her heel and jogged off, ponytail bobbing. Hobbes stared after her.
That wasn't very nice.
Don't you start.
She'd only gone a dozen yards or so when she stopped and turned back.
I think you won't apply for the jobs you really want because you're chicken.
She made a loud clucking noise. Other joggers stared at her as they went by. Calvin stuck out his tongue, but Susie had already turned and kept running away from him.
And that's where we'll end it for now.
Ugh.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I think you understand a little bit why I
Mhm.
chose this again, because this very, I think, accurately showcases a feeling that I think a lot of people feel. I myself, very much so, in this mode of like a fear of going out for something that you know you can do and that you know you are good at, and then the fear of not being able to do it.
Mhm.
And that kind of like crippling you and stopping you from your forward momentum of like, no, like I know I can do this, but if I don't do it, then what else do I do?
It's every time an actor auditions for any show,
Yeah.
Right.
they go through this again and again, and
It's a-
tempering that stop is a skill,
It
and
is.
it takes so much time and dedication.
Mm-hmm. And so this is, it's such a, I love this fan fiction because it's such a cool look at a character's future.
Mhm.
Because when you think of Calvin in the original comic books, he's usually so full of energy. He's always willing to try new things. His imagination goes crazy.
He's really smart.
He's
like he's big
smart.
words.
He's funny. Like he's just a very he's a nice kid with like a little mischief in him. But clearly it's mischief that's directed. It's like a kid that like pulls pranks, but they're not malicious pranks, and you're like, that kid's
It's got that Phineas and Ferb energy.
yeah, it's like that
Mhm.
kid's smart. Like
Yeah.
maybe not book smart, but the ideas that kid has, that kid will be successful.
He's a clever boy.
Yeah. And seeing what has become of that character through this fan fiction is like his imagination almost is a hindrance, because I think his mind goes to so many places that it kind of it scares him sometimes, which is such a cool concept of like the kid with the overactive imagination. Yes, that may be a great thing to have, but it also can be something that
It's
kind of stops
daunting.
you.
It's daunting whenever you have to apply it to the practicality of real life.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think his entire thing is looking at life from a fantastical and whimsical point of view, and then facing the reality of what life actually is probably really difficult for a kid like that, who's like, I'm used to looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses of like, oh, like if I think of an idea, I should do it.
Mhm.
But then like with the copier thing, and then the reality of the situation is that wastes money, that wastes resources, that wastes time. You're fired.
Yeah.
His creativity and his imagination is immediately
Punished.
Mhm.
And seeing his creativity punished is such a stifling thing for, I'm sure, him as a young adult now.
That's kind of just where I mean, I think that's especially relatable for all of us, because we were all kind of raised, not necessarily raised in an artistic household, but we became artistic children.
Yeah,
Like
raised in
one
an artistic
one way or the other,
environment.
we became very creative, and we were constantly thinking in fantasy, because that's just where it was surrounding me. So when it comes to the real world, and suddenly I have to go into these environments where people are like, fuck all that fantasy shit. It's all about pragmatism here.
Mhm.
Like, we have to be pragmatic because that's what businesses are. Businesses can't live in fantasy because they fail.
Mhm.
Because you can't invest in ideals.
Mhm.
You have to invest in something that's practical and reasonable.
And then cryptocurrency came along, and they were
Yes.
like, "It's fantasy money."
Yeah. Everything's made up and nobody
Yeah.
really understands it.
And then business even ruined that.
Yeah.
And now cryptocurrency is like, no, it's real money now.
Yeah, it is kind of real money now. Yeah, it's confusing as hell. But either way, yeah, I think it's just, to me, this represented a story that I've seen many times, like rehashed throughout a lot of different things, but just loss of childhood.
Mhm.
Like the moving past that moving past where we're officially like, oh shit, we're not kids anymore.
Mhm.
And I think I have finally crossed that threshold in my life where I'm like, I'm not a kid anymore. And I think it's largely being reflected in the fact that like my brother's about to have his daughter.
Mhm.
So I'm about to have my niece,
Mhm.
you know, and he's already got his partner she already has a child, and he's basically I've been meeting him, and I'm like, wow, we're the ones who are taking care of the kids now.
Mhm.
And you can't be a child taking care of a child.
Yeah.
So it suddenly feels like, yeah, I think now I finally reached that emotional level where I'm like, I've accepted it,
Mhm.
and now it's you have to accept all the implications that come with that too.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can't, even though you can still, I think it's still important to have that like childlike glee about and like that view and being able to see things from the perspective of a child. I think that's important to maintain.
Yeah.
And I think that's when adults get fucked up, is when they lose that.
And it's clear that he still maintains that
Yeah.
childlike outlook, because we talked a little bit like, is Hobbes still around? And he is, but the stuffed animal isn't there. Because Susie is like, oh yeah, what happened to Hobbes? Hobbes is clearly there, but the stuffed animal in the comics was always with him. Now it's not. So I kind of interpret that as like,
Do you know what
Hobbes is representative of his childhood,
Yeah.
like lingering with him, and his
it's still there.
imagination staying with him.
I think
And as
that's
soon
a
as
beautiful
he
thing.
leaves, it's like,
Well, that's
ooh,
what I'm
sad.
afraid of, because it is beautiful. But what if he gets this job
And loses Hobbes.
and
Yeah.
Hobbes, like, what if
fades.
all the stability, when he starts to like actually
Uh-huh.
have a stable life and like all these things that he's insecure about, he's no longer insecure about them. One day he just realizes Hobbes has been gone for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you try to smush it. Like,
Yeah.
society tries to smush that.
Mm-hmm.
They really do.
I'll say this, like, the way that I see it, this is what I hope for the story.
There is a little bit more.
Because I hope that in the story, that's exactly what happens. I think he joins this practical life. I'm just speaking kind of like for my own reflection on life in general. Like, there's a period where you kind of separate yourself, like the childhood, you lose it. You're in the practicality of life and stuff. But then the further you go, the more you mourn the loss of what was, and try to reclaim parts of the childhood that you have lost, the best parts about it. And I hope that reconciliation that Calvin has is what finds the perfect balance between things. I think that, like, I don't know, like maybe he grows up with this hindrance in the beginning, loses it, scales and balances out his life in practical terms, and then maybe in his case overcompensates, and then needs to go back and find what made him so special in the first place, which was this beautiful imagination, and Hobbes can come back and be a part of this new thing that he's built.
I think we're describing the plot of the Disney
think
film Christopher Robin.
That, and I just feel like I'm describing like what I want out of life in general. I think,
yeah.
you know.
That's one of the reasons why I picked this story. Is it's so relatable to me, and I was sure it would be relatable to you guys, and I hope to you all listening, because I think we've all kind of dealt with this struggle between who we were and who we are becoming, and that is a constant battle that I think everybody has. And
I honestly, like, to me, it feels like your Hobbes is something that you cannot carry with you. Because some people, I mean, everyone has like childhood traumas, right? So like whether they're extreme traumas or they're just like, you know, your mom yelled at you once and that stuck with you and changed your behavior throughout the rest of your life. Like, it can be something as simple as that. But this is going to be me preaching to everyone to go to therapy. But it's just like being able to actually address those things and talk through those things makes your Hobbes a lot easier to carry with you throughout your adult life. Like, being able to still have that childishness and still have your childhood with you at all times, I think is really important, because it just makes you it makes you a healthier adult. Like, to be able to carry that with you, and still have that childishness, and be able to go about the world with that kind of carefree, nothing matters that much in reality attitude that children just have. And that's why kids are so refreshing to be around. It's because nothing fucking matters to them except like random shit, whatever in the moment.
Everything's new.
Yeah. Whatever's in front of you. That's the most important thing. It's whatever your mind sets on something, you're like, I want that.
And there's perspectives that I think children have that adults have learned to not have anymore.
Yeah, they've lost it.
It's just, it's because you've seen a thing and you understand what it is.
Yeah.
And your brain has a harder and harder time seeing it as what it's not. Like, and that's what imagination is for a child, is like seeing a thing and imagining what it could be besides what it is. And you start to lose that because you're like, I've seen it a million times. I know what it is. I have a heart. It becomes blurrier to look at a thing in a different way. So yeah, it's this story. I was just so impressed with not only the writing, but the themes that it kind of started dealing with. If you all are interested in checking out the rest of it, there is, I think, another 1,000 or 2 words left. So there's like another half of the story still continuing on. So I highly recommend checking it out. We may follow it up at some point on the show, on a next chapter. But for now, once again, that was the lengthy, dimly lit coffee break of the Psyche by dotfic. Thank you so much, dotfic.
Read by a definite human being.
Yeah, seriously, dotfic, that one of my, again, I say this about all the shit fan fiction that we bring, but one of my favorites, just from a very relatable standpoint. I think this may be the most relatable fan fiction that we've ever read.
It's the Toy Story theme. It's the same theme. Yeah, it's just kids growing up.
And like a fear of success.
Yeah.
And like I know I would be good at this, but
Imposter syndrome.
if I don't get it, then what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. I think becoming an adult is realizing that no one else knows what the hell they're doing either.
Yeah. So everybody listening, just know what you're doing right now, where you're at right now is exactly where you need to be.
And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing.
And it's on our YouTube
my emotional
channel.
moment.
Right where you need to be is on our YouTube channel with your finger over the subscribe button.
So before we go, I wanted to, because I have a couple pulled up, because this is a little bit more of a serious-y episode towards the end, a little bit. So I've got some quotes by Bill Watterson as a little like final sign out thing.
And if you didn't hear before, Bill Watterson is the author of Calvin and Hobbes.
Hobbes and Calvin.
Also my dad.
Also.
That's not true.
Yeah. Are you Violet?
Nah. So a couple things.
Wes Watterson. That's
it's actually really interesting because I think his quotes reflect some similar ideas that this author had. So I think this author kind of hit the nail on the head of like some themes of Calvin and Hobbes were it to continue. Because I think Calvin already kind of deals in the comics. He kind of deals with like, I'm like learning about adult things and how does it apply to me as a kid dealing with my imagination. So
my pet dog.
Yeah, his pet dog, Hobbes, his definite dog, Hobbes. We've got, there's not enough time to do all the nothing we want to do. Reality continues to ruin my life. Things are never quite as scary when you have a best friend. Well, I wish I had one.
I wish I had a dog. Wish I had an imaginary dog.
Sometimes when I'm talking, my words can't keep up with my thoughts. I wonder why we think faster than we speak. Probably so we can think twice. If people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I'll bet they'd live a lot differently. I say if your knees aren't green by the end of the day, you ought to seriously re-examine your life. I'm not dumb. I just have a command of thoroughly useless information. Weekends don't count unless you spend them doing something completely pointless. It seems like once people grow up, they have no idea what's cool.
True.
So there's some cool quotes by Bill Watterson,
the
author of Calvin and Hobbes. Bill, if you're listening, first of all, thank you so much for liking, comment, subscribe. But thank you for giving a voice to one of my favorite comics and such a source of joy for, I think, so many people, and a source for this fan fiction and therefore this episode. So thank you to dotfic, our author, and thank you to Bill Watterson, our author's author.
Author, sub-author.
He's
Yeah.
an author's author.
He's
you
the
know?
au-
Thank you
the
to
author's
Bill
author.
Watterson's inspiration,
Water.
water.
That was. Don't laugh at that. That was bad.
Well, it's because he's the son of water.
No, I hate it. It's
Water
dumb.
son.
Anyway, everybody, thank you so much once again for
Yay.
listening to another episode of Stranger Than Fanfiction. We had a little comedy sandwich. We were funny, and then
Yeah.
we were not
Serious.
funny, and then we still weren't funny, and
And
then
We made a
really weren't
subscription. We
funny.
made a subscription joke.
Yeah,
So
for
it's
the,
like
and then it was
bread,
like comedy gold.
Comedy
It's
gold.
like bread and meat, and now soggy bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some soggy bread on the bottom.
Bread, meat, plate.
Yeah.
So guys, unless you have something else to add, like a maraschino cherry to put on top of this hero sandwich.
You know, now that you mention it, I do have some maraschino cherries.
Do you really?
No.
Okay, great.
I do actually.
Do you
He
really?
does. I don't.
I
Do you have them right
fridge
now?
will just
In the-
drink.
Oh,
I didn't mean to.
I'm gonna drink the
get your hopes
maraschino
up.
cherry syrup when I get
Yum.
home.
yum.
Just chug
That
it,
sounds good, actually.
Chuggy.
and then
It's
Well, that
basically
sounds
it's
strange.
basically grenadine, isn't it?
I don't know.
Is that what that is?
I think so. I mean, I love y'all. Tell me you can't fuck up a Shirley Temple. Y'all
What's
tell
a Shirley,
me you can't
what's a
fuck
Shirley
up
Temple again?
or a Roy Rogers,
It's
as it is
Sprite.
also called.
Now that I don't
Sprite
know.
and grenadine.
Sprite and grenadine,
I don't know if I've ever had one.
also known as a kiddie cocktail, which I was degraded as a young man when I worked at a restaurant and was only 18 and was hanging out with a bunch of
You got a
23-year-olds.
Shirley Temple.
And the manager was like, "Hey, you guys want a drink after the shift?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And everybody got a drink. And he was like, "Kitty cocktail, right?" And then everybody laughed at me.
Wow, what a bunch of dicks.
So if those 23-year-old friends are still listening,
Thank you.
Thanks.
thanks for listening and
Thanks
fuck
for
you.
listening. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Uh,
Shirley Temple's an American treasure.
Thank you, seriously, everybody who listened. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Yeah.
Again, if you haven't, check out our YouTube. Check out all of our content on Spotify, Apple Podcast. We do this and not only 2 other shows. We do Off the
Yeah.
Page and
Next
Next
Chapter.
Chapter, which is continuations of other things. So if you like this, we'd love it if you checked out some more stuff. We have a lot of
And-
fun doing it.
Leave us a review.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
that.
Even
If
if,
you-
even if it's bad. They
Yeah.
say all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
Just give
All
some
publicity,
stars,
good
man.
publicity.
Yeah. Everybody just
Apple
type.
Podcasts. Just go over there. You're gonna hit 5 stars, and you're gonna write.
You can just say, hey, these guys.
Fiction is great.
And then
because
just write
Taha is awesome.
brewery.
Just write brewery.
Just write brewery.
Five star
But you have to write it
review
as fast as you
Yeah,
can, no
just
matter
like
what it
type
looks like.
brewery,
with your eyes closed.
Brr.
brewery, rocking everywhere. brewery, rocking everywhere. And as always,
Stay strange at the brewery.